Smart 24, driving business.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the show, and thank you so much for tuning in Smart 24 TV. This is Financial Markets, and my name is Anthony Sebale, and I am your host. And on this show, we get to bring you the latest content on business, and of course, get to give you what is happening in the different stock exchanges within Africa and outside Africa. Now, to be part of the show, you simply have to go to our Twitter and follow us at Smart24TV now. And you can also be able to follow me personally at Anthony Sebale and get to, of course, know what is currently happening in the world of financial markets trading. Today, we have quite a number of things to share. One of them is, of course, we are winding down the week, and definitely there's been a lot that has happened in this week. One of the highlights of the week was CIPLA's failure to finish their transaction with African Capital Works. And of course, the other highlight of the week has been, of course, a few things coming in from Bank of Baroda's stock that saw a decline earlier in the week, as of course of Monday, when they traded their bonus shares on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And of course, on the international market, debt ceiling talks in the United States have come to an end. And of course, we now await the Federal Reserve's meeting next week in the United States, and more of that coming up on the show. But let's have a look at what's happening across Africa as we wind down the week. Starting off with West Africa in Ghana, their index yesterday on Thursday added at least just 0.11 points. Remember, Ghana Stock Exchange has over 38 listings that are currently trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange. As per the trading on Thursday, we had at least 13 participants in the market, and only one gainer for the day. Fan Milk added 0.77% to their stock price, closing of Friday as the only gainers on the Ghana Stock Exchange. On the other hand, in as far as the traders are concerned, amongst the 13 traders, intravenous infusions recorded the highest volume at 11,250 shares that were traded at the end of the day. Now, what is intravenous infusions? Now, this is a Ghanaian pharmaceutical company, and the company is a leader in the manufacture of intravenous infusions within the country. It is incorporated in 1969 and began operations way back in 1974 as the first pharmaceutical company producing intravenous infusions in Ghana. Currently, their stock is at 0.04 Ghanaian gachus, and this is at a 0.00 gain, meaning there wasn't even a single movement that was witnessed on Thursday on intravenous infusions in Ghana. Besides intravenous infusions, we did have produce buying company at 10,000 shares, and this is a particularly cocoa bean manufacturing company that was formed in 1981. The company is engaged in the dealership of cocoa and shea nut, as well as other cash crops in the West African sub-region there in Ghana. Ghana Oil Company also had at least 5,015 shares, whereas the Total Energies Marketing Ghana at least had 2,941 shares traded on Thursday. Away from Ghana, in West Africa, still remaining within the West African region, the Nigerian Stock Exchange lost 67.93 points on Thursday after a very long day of trading for the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And the index there closed at 55,000 cents or 55,000 points. Currently, Nigeria Stock Exchange has close to about 156 listings on their stock exchange. As per Thursday trade, we had 115 Nigeria Stock Exchange listings participating in trade, with 41 gainers and 13 losers registered on Thursday. Unity Bank led the gainers with a total gain of 10% in price, closing off the day at 0.66 Nigerian Naira per share. When you look at the Secure Electronic Technology, another company there that gained 10%, and Japol Gold and Ventures at 10% as well, whereas Prestige Assurance Company also gained 10%. On the losing side, however, John Holt had the biggest depreciation in price and closed off the day with a price of 9.68, with a depreciation of 9.68%, down to 1.40 Nigerian Naira. That's, of course, from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. In as far as the index is concerned, like I mentioned earlier, it lost a little bit of value following the day's trade. This day particularly had a good turnover improvement, with a turnover of about 18% improvement, and the volumes improving at least 34% as well on the Thursday trade in Nigeria. Elsewhere on the African continent, looking across the board, Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa also did have quite some losses on their all-share index. There, of course, showing performance slightly reduced from the Thursday, of course, comparing the Thursday trade to the Wednesday trade. Now, currently the Johannesburg Stock Exchange has a market value of 19.1 trillion South African rand. And currently, when you look at the data that was produced yesterday, the exchange had a total of 307,217,000 shares traded, and this was closing with deals about 381,000, and the market value on the day was 22.5 billion, indicating a decline of 20% in the volume. However, an improvement of 2% within the deals that were made. Now, currently South Africa has 422 listings. And when you look at the day's participants, we had over 322 of these come out as traders for the Thursday trading day. The day ended, fortunately, with 125 gainers and at least 172 losers on the market. Cognition Holdings led the gainers at 18.42% appreciation in price, closing at 0.90 South African rand per share. And when you look at the losing side, Labat Africa came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of at least 12.5% in South Africa. South Africa continues to be a market center. When you look at stock exchange trading within Africa, it's first of all one of the largest and busiest stock exchanges. So if you're looking for diversification, you would be looking in South Africa. One of the ways you could be investing in your different stocks as per the African market here on the continent. Let's come back home now in East Africa and start with the Uganda Securities Exchange. And today, of course, is Heroes Day. Happy Heroes Day, by the way, to all our viewers on the show. We do have the market closed today. Of course, due to the fact that this is a public holiday here in Uganda, our Ugandan market is currently closed. However, elsewhere in East Africa, the markets are still open. That is, of course, Kenya inclusive, and Tanzania, and in Rwanda as well. So we need to at least get to know how these markets are going to perform. But yesterday, Uganda Securities Exchange did actually have trading. As per data from the Uganda Securities Exchange, by the end of Thursday, we had at least about 3.6 million Ugandan shillings transacted. Comparing this with the previous day, there was a 72% decline in the volume and 1% decline in the turnover. The market capitalization currently at the Uganda Securities Exchange is 18.0 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, in aggregate, yesterday 3 equities participated in trade, ending the day with 2 gainers and at least 5 losers. The 2 top gainers were Jubilee Holdings at 3.46% and the East African Breweries Limited stock at 0.5% appreciation in price. On the losing side, however, we had Centum Investments at 3.94% depreciation and closed at 233.16 Ugandan shillings, and KCB at 0.56% depreciation in price, closing off at 853.58 Ugandan shillings. Kenya Airways stock at least lost 0.42% on their Thursday trading, and the NMG lost 0.41%, whereas Equity Bank Limited lost 0.15%. Now, generally speaking, the major movers of the market of the day on the Uganda Securities Exchange were Umeme, MTN, and Stanbic Bank Uganda, with Umeme having the highest volume. Umeme recorded at least 6,400 shares on the market there on Thursday, whereas MTN Uganda just recorded 4,600 shares, and Stanbic Bank Uganda just at least about 1,800 shares on the Ugandan market. In the other news, we had Bank of Baroda, of course, issue extra shares on Monday. Let's see how the stock is currently doing. Bank of Baroda currently is trading at 14.0 shillings on the Uganda Securities Exchange. On Monday, they issued extra 1.25 billion shares, and these are at 10 shillings per share. And of course, this is only open to the shareholders within the company that are able to buy into the Bank of Baroda stock right now. Now, 14 shillings price at the Bank of Baroda stock is quite a huge decline, but of course, like I explained earlier on, because of their bonus issue that they did have this at the beginning of this week on Monday, the price of the bonus issue was 10 Ugandan shillings per share. And I believe this is open only to shareholders. However, it does have influence also on the market, on the secondary, on the market price, on the secondary market. And now you can see Bank of Baroda trading at 14 Ugandan shillings, which is quite their lowest price ever. Now, as per trade, there's this 14.0 Ugandan shillings per share that Bank of Baroda is currently trading at is at weekly performances of 81% loss and 4-week performances of 81.3% losses as well. However, Bank of Baroda has maintained their 4th position in as far as the most traded stock is concerned on the Uganda Securities Exchange, meaning we still have at least good activity from Bank of Baroda Uganda. In the past 3 months, they have traded 9.36 million shares on the market. Currently, they hold 2.5 billion outstanding shares and a market capitalization of 35 billion Ugandan shillings on the market. In other news on the markets here, the Uganda Securities Exchange only listed pharmaceutical company Cipla Quality Chemical Industries actually didn't close the deal with Africa Capital Works there, a company that was buying out some of course, most of the stake from the company that was held by Cipla India. Now, Africa Capital Works indicated that completion of the planned buyout of Cipla Quality Chemicals from Cipla, this was not achieved on the 31st of May as earlier planned. In a notice yesterday, Africa Capital Works, yesterday but one actually, Africa Capital Works said that the buyout was expected to cost between $25 million and $30 million. We're talking about 93.3 billion Ugandan shillings and 112 billion Ugandan shillings. However, this has not been met, and according to the plan, we could have an extension to the 31st of June and an automatic extension to 31st of July if things don't go as, of course, things have been planned. Now, the company is CIPLA has also been able to issue notices to their shareholders that were filed through Bombay Stock Exchange in India, as well as the National Stock Exchange of India and Luxembourg Stock Exchange. CIPLA indicated that it had on March 14th agreed to be able to to be able to sell out the 51.18% stock that it has with CIPLA Quality Chemical Industries to a company known as African Capital Works. There have been no details that have been provided on the status of CIPLA's application for grant of sale through the Capital Markets Authority. Our sources could not readily establish why the planned sale has been delayed for at least the last 2 months. We don't know exactly what is happening behind this delay, but no need to panic. The company's stock price is still quite steady. Currently, when you look at CIPLA, they are trading at 70.0 Ugandan shillings, which is the price they've been trading at for quite some time. So there is a lot of stability, and you shouldn't have any cold feet as per right now. Regarding the performance of the benchmark index, the all-share index paired 0.1 points and was lower to 1,048 points. And when you look at the local company index, on the other hand, it maintained its value at 267.78 points on the Uganda Stock Exchange. That's, my friend, from what's happening from the Uganda Securities Exchange. If you want to trade on the USE, all you need is to open an SCD account, and you can do that using your phone by dialing star 165 star 57 hash on your MTN, and then you'll be able to look out and see some of the options that are available for you to be able to open an SCD account. Once you've opened the account, which is free of charge, you will be able to now access the market, but through a licensed stock broker. We have 5 of them. You can check them out on the Uganda Securities Exchange as well. Now, on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we also had trade, and 47 equities listed participated in that particular trade on Friday. 22 gainers were registered and 18 losers on the market. Longhorn Publishers led the gainers with an appreciation of 9.73%, closing off the day at exactly 2.48 Kenyan shillings per share, whereas the Liberty Kenya Holdings stock at least appreciated 9.09% upwards, and Sasini Tea and Coffee added at least 8.97%, whereas the Samia Africa stock added 7.48% on the day. On the losing side, Car and General Kenya at least came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 5.48%, whereas that of Unga Group lost 5.0%. Regarding the performance of the benchmark index, the NSE all-share index dropped off at least 0.15%, down to 105.9 points. Across to the USA markets, besides Uganda and Kenya, stocks were higher as investors weighed the economic data that was released, and GameStop shook up at least a few of its shares, whereas the stock markets continue to remain resilient. Stocks inched higher on Thursday, especially as investors digested the fresh economic data ahead of the next week's Federal Reserve's meeting and a leadership shakeup on GameStop. The S&P 500, which has the top 500 American companies, at least added 0.3% to its value higher. And when you look at the Nasdaq Composite, it popped 0.52%, whereas the Dow Jones Industrial Average pushed up 0.37%, or at least to 123 points. The Nasdaq 100 snapped a 4-day winning streak on Wednesday as the artificial intelligence infused rally appears to hit a standstill at the moment. The S&P 500 has been chasing the bull market territory all week needing a close of about 4,292 points to officially mark a 20% rally for October's 2022 bottom. That's it, my friend, from our desk here as Financial Markets. Remember, to get more, you can visit our website at www.smart24tv.tv.com, and you can do this and get to learn more about what's happening to the different stocks in real time. You can also follow up with our squeeze back. Behind that, we always have our top stories as well as the prices as they stand for the different companies in Uganda and the rest of the world. Now, the show is proudly brought to you by the Altex Trading Platform, and the Altex Trading Platform under Zabu says you can be able to trade now in the Treasury bond market using your phone. Simply grab your phone and text or dial *292# and then register, learn more about the products, and begin your journey of investment. Altex is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority and opens their doors at 8:30 a.m. and closes at exactly 3:30 p.m. East African Standard Time. That's it, my friend. Have a very lovely weekend. See you on Monday. Bye for now.